Hey, everyone, wait for a few more people to get started or to join up, and then we'll get started. Just got slightly behind as I was rewired my desk this morning, and NDI was being a pain for a minute. It took me a minute to get it fixed. I'm glad you all have your drinks ready, and I see your confidence in me is high. Someone posted on the in the group was a mad face for this live stream. I don't know what that's all about. All right, we got about over 30 of us today at this point, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So hey everybody, welcome back to Mission Control here in a nice day here in Colorado. I hope it's nice out wherever you're at. And today we're going to talk about chases and the BPM Master. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just mad they don't have a drink yet. Anywho, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll do our normal. We'll continue playing our mission control drinking game, where every time I forget to switch screens, you guys take a drink and yell at me for not switching the screens. But hopefully today we'll have a minimum of that. We'll see how that goes. Anywho, so let's get started. So chases. Recording a chase, as well as recording a single cue, you can also record a series of cues, which run in a loop. We call this a chase. You have the same record modes available for chases as with cues. Channel, fix your stage. The first thing to do when recording a chase is assign a handle that the chase will save to. To do this, press record chase, or just simply tap record twice. Saves you a little bit of time. Then press the flashing blue button to assign that to a handle. First time you press the blue button, it does not record a step, it simply assigns a handle. So after we tell Titan that we want to record a chase, we then tell it where we want to record that chase. So it knows that, hey, we're going to put that on fader 5 or 10 or whatever, right? Once in the record mode for a chase, you have the following options shown on the soft keys. Record mode, choose from channel, fix your stage. Step number shows the step you're about to record. Pen step, pressing this button records the step. Pressing the flashing button you're saving the chase onto also has this effect. So you can press either or, it's literally the same difference. Shapes and effects allows you to record shapes, pix map effects into your chase. Renumber all cues. Renumbers all cues are consecutive whole numbers. Set mask allows you to select attributes you wish to keep in that step. Any that aren't selected won't be recorded. So just like we've seen everywhere else in Titan, you can mask things in or out as you please. So rather than going on running a chase, let's make one. So we'll slide on over here to our Titan mobile setup, running version 12. I'm actually running the Titan 1 or Titan Go interface, excuse me, so you guys can see what I'm pressing a little bit easier rather than just the buttons on my console. So first thing we're going to do here is record a chase is we're going to hit record twice, and we see that it takes us straight to the create chase. Rather than have to hit record once and slide over here and hit create chase, we can just double tap that record button and take us straight to create chase. After we're at that point, we just choose a fader to go to. We're going to go to fader 6 here for giggles. You can now see in our soft keys, we got a record mode. We change that between channel, fix your stage, and quick build. We'll talk about quick build when we get to cue list. Sorry, so we're gonna leave it on fixture for now. Step number, that's the step we're about to record, because as we said a moment ago, just when we selected this playback, we haven't actually recorded anything to it. We simply said, hey, this is where I want to put the chase. If we hit the append step button, it would record whatever's in the program right now, which is nothing because we haven't done anything yet. Shapes and effects, we can go to add a shape or an effect to this step in our cue list, in our chase. I can renumber all the cues if we had some odd things going on here, and we can set our mask to include or exclude what we want. But to do this, we'll go ahead and select our BMFLs, and we'll give them a locate so we can see them, and then we'll give them a color and a gobo, and we'll capture it all the way for a moment, and we'll give them a position. And I'll say that's what I like for the first step of my chase. Now I can either hit the append step button here or the blue button on my above my fader. It's literally the same difference. We'll hit it down here. We'll see that now it's moved to step number 2, and it's ready for us to set our next step. So we'll do it. We'll use this position and record a step, and then we'll change our position, record a step, and we'll do it one more time with, and we'll do this one. So now I've got 4 steps in my chase. When I'm done recording a chase, to finish, I simply hit exit to exit the record mode and clear to clear my programmer. Now if I fire back my chase, we'll see that it runs those 4 steps. Now I could have done it with anything. I didn't have to use palettes, but of course I always, as we've talked about before, always suggest using palettes because it makes your life easier in the long run. So let's switch back here to our slides. When running a chase, unless you've changed the user setting, then as soon as you fire a chase, it will be connected to the encoder wheels. You can then speed up or slow down the chase and change the crossfade live. When the crossfade is set to 100%, the chase takes the whole step time to fade from one step to the next. When it is set to 0%, the console will snap to the next step and hold this for the step time. You have the option to use the stop and go buttons to start and stop the chase. Let's go ahead and see all that here. So if we fire our chase here, now we see in our wheels section, we've got on the first wheel, on wheel 1, we've got BPM, so we can make our BPM lower, chase run slower, BPM faster, chase go faster. Now with crossfade, what we can do is we'll go ahead and set our BPM down here to, we'll make it 60 BPM just to make my life easy for the math here in a second. Ugh. So there we go. We are 60 BPM. So with crossfade, with our BPM set to 60, so that's one step per 1 second per step. And with our crossfade 100%, it's going to spend 1 second making the fade from step 1 to step 2. If we took our crossfade to say 50%, it's going to take a half second making the movement, and then a half second sitting in that change. If we had it down to 0%, it's going to move as quickly as it can and then sit for the rest of that time in that change before it goes to the next step. I hope that's making sense to everybody to that point. So one of those times I'm sad I can't see your smiling faces. If we were doing color changes instead of position changing, what we would see, like if we had like an LED mixer or an LED power can or mover where it can change colors basically instantly, the color would change very, very fast. If we're doing it like a color mixing fixture with flags, like a BMFL in our examples of what we got running here, obviously the flags take a moment to move, but it will do as fast as possible from that point on. And I see Paul had a question. We'll see if I can answer. 1 second. I believe you can, Paul. Let me, well, let's see here. I've got it here. So I've got the, no, you cannot with, when you're connected to the chase, it doesn't allow you to do that with the wheels, because I just tried. And I thought you could. But we have other ways of adjusting our BPM that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. And I forgot to show the stop and go buttons. Obviously, we hit stop, hit go, chase go. Pretty simplistic there. Let's talk about editing a chase. To edit a chase, there are two methods we can use. One method is called unfold. It will take the chase, lay it out a step at a time on the playback section, so that each step gets its own fader, and can then be edited in a similar way to a static cue. Once in the unfold menu, you have the following options on the soft keys. And rather than just read these with you guys seeing it on the screen, let's go back over here and play. So I'm going to drop the fader on this chase just to make it go away. And then I'm going to go up here and hit unfold on our Titan One or Titan Go interface. Is going to be here on most of your consoles. Is going to be in the functions section. So there's media, record, patch, and all that. So that's usually where unfold is. So we hit unfold and we'll hit the blue button on our chase. We'll now see that it took those 4 steps and laid them out on all my faders, so that I can look through each one individually like they are separate cues or separate just playbacks. Really? There we go. So if we look at our soft keys here, we've got record step is used at both updating existing steps and recording new steps. Insert step can be used to add a new step in between steps, in between existing steps. Edit times allows you to edit times of individual steps. Shapes and effects, again, we can add a shaper picks them up effect to a step. Set step legends, so rather than just being Q 1, 2, 3, 4, we could name them red, green, blue, or whatever, something more descriptive than just Q 1, 2, 3, 4. Previous page, next page. If I had a chase that was more than 10 steps long, I would use this to get to the other steps. So if I had 12 steps, I'd hit next page and I'd be able to see steps 11 and 12. Since I only have 10 faders here for the Sapphire Touch, I would see I could go up to 15 before I needed to change pages, but on everything else is going to be the 10. So let's look at recording a step. Let's say that in here, this is great, but I really just wish the color was different in this step. Then that was not the right for it. So we'll go ahead and select our BMFLs, and we'll go ahead and change it to this color, and then we'll hit record. I'm sorry. We can hit record step, and then choose which one we want. In this case, Q2, and we're going to go ahead and merge, and then we'll hit clear. And then we can check step 1. We can now check step 2, step 3. Now to exit unfold, you can either hit unfold again or press and hold your Avo key and hit exit, and it'll exit from the unfold menu. And now if we fire back our chase, we see our step 1's there, 2, 3, 4, and loops back around. So we'll go ahead and unfold our chase again so we can see it. And let's say that I really needed a step in between steps 2 and 3 here that does something else. So we go ahead and select our BMFLs, and we'll throw a locate on them for funsies, and we'll give it this position with, we'll make it really stark and really incredibly bad looking. So we say this is the step we need in between steps 2 and 3. What we do is we just hit insert step. And then, as it says here in our prompt area, select the playback to insert a cue. You may enter a legend below. So if we wanted to, we could. We also change our record mode between fixture, stage, and channel. We're going to leave it on fixture. And then we want to hit the cue we want it before. So I want it before 3. So I click on 3. We now see that I have cues 1, 2, 2.9, 3, and 4. So now if we'll go ahead and hit clear, and then Avo exit to exit out of unfold, and now fire my chase. So see, I've got step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back to 1. So let's say that that's all fine and dandy, and then I realized that making that green cue on 2.9 was incredibly ugly and need to get rid of it because, well, it is. To delete a step, we simply, in the unfold, we hit delete, and tap the blue button on the cue you want to get rid of, and we can either click confirm here or just hit a second time on it, and we can see that it's now gone away. Hit unfold to refold, and if we bring it up, we see that the offending step has been removed. So any questions up to this point, folks? Hello, Carlos. Carlo. Wow, I cannot talk all of a sudden. Hey, Carlos, thanks for joining us. You all are very quiet today. Hey, Adam. So it doesn't look like we've got much of. Hey, Austin. It doesn't look like we have much in the way of questions right now, so we'll go ahead and continue on. And let's talk about BPM Masters then. Now, since we have something to set a BPM Master on. Everything was green, but yes, it was bad. It was very bad. So, Mikhalos, it isn't. If you watch a video from, I believe it was exactly a week ago, I believe it was Wednesday of last week, we have a complete show here on Capture itself. So go ahead and if you look in the programs and users groups, you can find it in there from last Wednesday, I believe. Here, actually, we'll go look real quick. If we go to Avolites US. Yes, last Wednesday was Capture. So continuing on to talk about BPM Masters, as of version 13, you can have up to 8 per show. Before pre-version 13, you could only have 4. I like to use halos whenever I use a BPM master. So I like to put a halo around my BPM master, say red for 1, and then any playback I have associated with that same BPM master, I put a red halo on it. So I know that, hey, this playback uses BPM master 1, or if it's on BPM master 2, I make that one blue or yellow or whatever, to make it so that I know which one's which more easy rather than just trying to remember, because I swear before I did this, I would always grab the wrong one and be like, why isn't my PBM changing? And look down and figure out that I had it on the wrong one, and it would make me a very angry Kato. So I decided to fix that by using halos. We'll talk about edge sync when we get it going, and we'll talk about multipliers too. So with that, let's switch back to our mobile display. Keep you all from drinking today. I'm going to actually move a couple of chases I have recorded here real quick, just back to our main page. Just so I have more chases down here right now. To record a BPM master, we can simply on anything other than a Pearl Expert, which is we can just hit record. And then from our soft keys, choose create master. And we're presented with a list between intensity, rate, BPM, size, pixel mapper, and scene master. And we'll be covering most of the masters, I believe, tomorrow. We'll get into, or the day after that, we'll get into a whole bunch of masters and talk about all of them. But today we're going to talk about our BPM master. So we'll click on our BPM master, and then we can choose between which one we want: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're just going to use 1, and we'll put it here. And we'll put 2 and put it here to show the abilities with how I like to do it said with the halos. So we'll exit out of that menu, and let's go ahead and set legend here, and we'll put a halo on it, and we'll make it nice and red. And then we'll set legend here, and we'll put a halo on it, and we'll make it nice and blue. That's usually ones that I usually do. Red, blue, and yellow are my usual go-tos for labeling these particular halos, but you can do whatever makes you happy. So to once we set a BPM master to a fader, we have to tell our chases here that we want them to listen to this BPM master. So if we go into our playback options and we hit the blue button of our chase here, we can go into effects, and then we can choose our speed source. We can change it from free run, and we're going to change it to BPM master 1. And then to save that, we'll simply exit out. And then we'll do playback options. We'll drag select across both of these, or excuse me, not drag select. Let me exit that. To select more than one playback. Remember, we said yesterday we could select more than one playback at a time. So if we hit our playback options and we press and hold the blue button on our first chase, or right click when using the Titan Go interface, and then hit the blue button on our second chase, we can edit them both at the same time. At least it should be. And for some reason it's not, so let's do it. Let me do it here. There we go. Just wasn't working right on the Titan Go interface, so I did it with the hard buttons on the mobile. If I go again, I go to effects and then change my speed source, and I'll change it to BPM Master 2. Exit out to save it. So now, if I fire my first chase and I tap tempo, which by default is going to be the blue button on my BPM Master, I'm going to cheat and use the buttons again. I can tap fast to make the chase go fast, or tap slow and make the chase go slow. If I drop this one and fire my other one, we can see that if I use my BPM Master 2's BPM, I can double tap to make it go, tap to sync to make it go fast, tap slow to make it go slow. And since that one's on the park hands, I can actually run both at the same time. And I can even, if I use both buttons at the same time while using a console, you wouldn't be able to do this on the Titan Go interface, but using a console you could. I can run an entirely too fast chase, but you guys don't know what kind of music I have in my head. Ha ha ha. So then we can see if we need to go ahead and just drop these chases. And we'll talk about edge sync and multipliers. One more. I think if there was a couple of questions, let me slide on over here and read them. Oh, Sam. Can we record a BPM master to the playbacks window and change the BPM by clicking it? Be honest, I'm not positive, so let's try that real quick before we talk about edge sync and multipliers, just because now I'm curious. We'll find our playbacks workspace, and we'll move it up out of the way, and we'll move our BPM master here to the playbacks workspace. And now we'll fire our chase that has one to do with it, and we'll tap on it. Yes, you can, Adolf, sorry. I'm not sure how you particularly pronounce it from where you are, but answer is yes, we can do that. So we'll move it back to a fader for now. Wow, that is incredibly fast. So with that, let's talk about Austin by pressing and holding the blue button on one of them and then hitting the blue button on the second one while the first one was held down. So with that, let's talk about edge sync. So what edge sync does is, anyone ever out there use like turntables or like a CD DJ, and you know how you can just kind of slow down your track by just kind of grabbing the record or the disc and kind of spinning it a little bit, so you can just slow your time steps to get you back on center of your beat while you're trying to beat match. With Edge Sync, is basically you do the same thing with our BPM Master. So if we connect to our BPM Master by hitting the Connect Q key, on some consoles it's labeled Q, some is labeled Connect, some is labeled Connect/Q. So when we click that and then hit the blue button, one of our BPM Masters, we'll do BPM Master 2 since that's the one we have running for a playback. And we now see that on our wheels, we have our speed, which is our BPM, and Edge Sync. So if I have my tempo tapped in, and we'll just do it on screen here. And let's say that that's just about right, but I'm a little fast or a little slow from the center of the beat of the music. What I can use Edge Sync and just drag the wheel down a little bit, and it basically would just bump me down a couple milliseconds to get me back on center of the beat. Is that making sense to everybody? Again, one of these times it's hard to, without seeing your smiling faces, to know exactly if you're catching it or not. All right. So if anyone has any questions on that field, please ask them, and I'm sure Sam will help catch them if I do not. But so we can get this. So that's what Edge Sync is. Really handy to get the back on beat, especially like an EDM show or something like that. You know, you're on beat, you're tapping that perfect 60 BPM just like the song is, but you're a little ahead of the edge or a little behind the edge. You can use Edge Sync to get you back on center without having to sit there and trying to keep retapping it. Again, like I said, super handy. Let's talk about the playback options we can have on a BPM Master, since we didn't see that yesterday because we didn't have one. So if we hit playback options and we'll select our BPM Master 2, we now see these options on our screen here. We'll make this full size just so we can take a look-see here easily. Handle paging, just the same as we saw yesterday, locked, transparent locked, or locked. So if we want it to appear on every page, no matter what page we're on, we can set it to locked. And then if we go to page, even if we go to page 25, it's still going to show our BPM Master on fader 10 in this case on page 25. A transparent lock, just like we talked about yesterday, you can have it locked onto that fader unless you program something else on that fader on another page, and then you can it'll switch to that when you get to that particular page. Key profile, you can change key profiles in BPM Master. We will talk about key profiles on another day. BPM, we can directly set the BPM here if we wanted to, instead of this 83 point or just 83 even. We can change it to 60 if we wanted to, and now we see that we have 60 BPM set for it. We set a scale from 0 to 60, 0 to 120, 0 to 240, 0 to 360, or 0 to 600 BPM. If you're going to show it requires 600 BPM, I want to see it, because that's almost a little scary. I mean, I was into some, hardcore, fast techno, as we used to call it back in the day, but 600 BPM is a freaking lot. Speed multiplier. We can put a multiplier or a divisor on our master, so we can have it be at 1x, 2x, 4x, or so it'll run twice as fast, run 4 times as fast, run at half speed or quarter speed. And just like this, we can also set a multiplier, so you can have it to plus or multiplied or divided by 2, divided or multiplied by 4, by 8, by 16, by 32. So if we change this to 32 and we came in here, we can see that actually it doesn't show that. Okay. But we could use that. We could change that to there, and we'll show how to do that. Fader controls, speed multiplier, or BPM. I don't see the point of having the BPM on this fader here, because I'm just going to be tapping it in anyhow, right? So why do I need to have the BPM on the fader itself? So I like to set this for speed multiplier. So that way, and I usually use 4x. I usually don't need to go all the way up to 32 with that. I can use my fader to cut quickly to double speed, half speed, quarter speed, or 4 times speed just by moving my fader up and down. That's my preferred way to do it when it comes to a speed multiplier. Reset multiplier on tap tempos. You can have it reset the multiplier back to 1x every time you start tapping. I usually leave that off personally because what I usually do with my BPM Master 2 is I usually have it set to a half time so that if I'm running a chase, say that I'm doing a color chase on a BPM Master 1 and the BPM Master 2, I'm doing a gobo chase. So what I would have it do is every other color step, it would change gobos, but it would change gobos on every step. I hope that makes sense to everybody. And then we can, once we're happy with our settings, we can just simply hit exit, and we'll show it the BPM here. We'll go ahead and set our BPM to, we'll use our wheel again. Then we'll get it to 60, just because that makes math easy. Close enough. So that we'll see that if we have it 1x is doing the 60 BPM, so each step of arm will drop our, we'll actually connect to our chase for a second. And we're going to set our crossfade to 0 to make it a little more stark. And we'll reconnect to our BPM master. So that we see that if we go to 1x is doing one step a second. If we 2x it, we'll see that's now running at 120 BPM, or that's what it's sending out as its taps. If we dropped it to 1/2, it's now running at 30 BPM, so 2 seconds between each step change. 1, 2, step, 1, 2, step, 1, 2, step, 1, 2, step, so on and so forth. Or you slow it all the way down to quarter time. I like to have this because usually when a band drops, they're dropping into halftime or quarter time in a song. They're not, so rather than have to retap in that 60 BPM or whatever they were on, because the tempo, the BPM itself doesn't change. It's usually going to drop to like a quarter time or halftime, you'll notice. So I find it easier to just drop my fader down that, halfway down, and then boom, I get that halftime perfectly in sync. And as soon as they're done, boom, bump it back up to 1x, and I'm still in time with the song the entire time. Again, this is how I like to run things. And as I always tell everybody in my classes, there is no right or wrong way to run Titan. There's my way, there's your way, there's Sam's way, there's Steven's way, there's Paul's way. And none of them are wrong. It's just what makes ourselves happy and what makes you most comfortable in front of the console, because it doesn't matter what I think is good. You may think the organization of my show is insane. And I probably look at some of Sam's shows and I'll be like, what is he thinking? And think it's just absolutely terrible. However, I like to do it this way. Paul, to have it disconnect, you can tap the connect Q key twice, and it'll completely disconnect, or you can hit the connect Q button and connect to something else, and it will deconnect from the BPM master or whatever you had it on. So I can just, if I had it on the BPM master here, I can double tap it and it goes away, or I can select hit it and then check connect Q to here and connect to it, or then if I want to get off it, connect and say to this chase, even though it's not running, I can connect to it. Hope that helps. So that's kind of all we had today planned for today's class, but so we'll just do some kind of free form from here. You guys ask a question and don't try to stump me too hard, but ask a question and let's see what we can get into and maybe have a little bit of fun. We'll try to keep it in the area of BPM masters and chases, but ask away. Ooh, someone has made a post in the group. Should we try and answer it as a team. Let's have fun with that. When would I use a keyframe shape over a chase? Um, Usually when I put it in effect into a cue list or just another cue, and I want it to just be a one-shot type deal, is usually when I'd use a keyframe over as chase. There are times that I use keyframes as chases instead, particularly now that we've got cycles. I'll do it that way sometimes. What is the non-fold way to edit a chase? The non-unfold way. Golly, now I got to think of it to remember it because I don't do it very often myself. Let's see here. Let me try it once before I bring you guys in on it. Okay, it does work how I thought, so I'll bring you guys over and have you show it to you now. So I've got this chase running. What I can do is I can go ahead and stop it if I want. I can also do it without stopping it, but I'll stop it just to make it a little easier. So say that in step 2 of this, we wanted to record something in here, so I can take my BMFLs, since they're not on right now, I'll locate them, give them a color and a position, and say that I wanted to add that to that step. I can simply hit record, then hit the blue button of the chase, and then I can look at my soft keys here, and I can change the record mode to step number, or pen. I have a pen step to add it, chases, shapes and effects, raw cues and set mask. So if I wanted to edit into, I would change my step number to 2, and then hit enter, and we'll see that now instead of saying a pen step, it says update step 2. So you can click that, and I could ask it to replace, merge, insert before, insert after. I'm going to merge it, and then hit clear and exit, and we'll drop our chase and refire it. We see step 1 there, step 2, step 3, and we added the BMFLs in it. I hope that answers your question, sir. Good point, Sam. You could do it on a spreadsheet also. So let's bring that up. So we can view the queue simply by hitting the open/view key. Again, some consoles it's labeled open, some it's labeled view, some it's labeled open view. On this interface, it's labeled view. So we'll hit view, and then we'll bring up the chase here, and we see we've got queues 1, 2, and 3. So I'll move this down here to the bottom just to get it out of the way. We can select our BMFLs and throw a locate on them, and give them a color. Again, we'll use that incredibly ugly color to do it. We can then hit record and hit the number 3 cue. And again, then we could tell it to merge, replace, so on and so forth. And we will merge it and hit clear. So now when we fire chase 7, we get that and then that. That would be the third way to do it. Neil, there is a great way to do it, but I'm going to make you wait for the day we do macros. So when we do macros on the next Wednesday, or 2 Wednesdays from now, or 2 Tuesdays from now on the 21st, I have a great way to make fast dimmer chases through a macro, and I'll teach you that day. Sorry, I'm going to make you wait. It's a different process, David. Sam, do you remember exactly what it is? I don't have touched the Perl Expert in so long. You have to go to the system menu is what it is, and I'll show you that through the system menu here. And on the Perl Expert, it's not on. You can't hit. It's not in the record menu, but it is in the system menu. So if we went to the system menu, Avo and disk on a console, or just the system button here, then we can find Masters on our, there it was, assign masters, and then go through it that way. It's just not in the record menu, Dave. That's all. Or David, sorry. Adolf, I will make you wait for tomorrow for shapes. We're doing shapes tomorrow, and we can. If you ask that, if you hop on tomorrow and ask that exact same question, we will go into it since that's a shape rather than a chase. Chris, all of these ones are being saved to the group. I'm not moving them to YouTube. They're going to stay in the group here. That's why I chose to do these on Facebook rather than YouTube for these particular ones. If someone needs to see them, have them join the group. No, you can't do cycles per se for a chase, Corey. You can have it run one time and stop on the last one. Actually, we'll show that because it's something we haven't really shown before. So we've got our mobile display up, so we'll slide on over to it. And we'll go ahead and release this chase so it'll stop running. We view our chase like we have before, view, and bring our chase up. We'll see here that we have our link, and we'll make this a little wider so we can see everything in it. Link after previous, so it's going to, after the previous step gets done, it's going to link the next one around. We click on it, we can change it from after previous to wait for go. So if I wanted this to run only once, I could change my first one to wait for go. And then when I'm about to chase up, once I hit the go button, I do the first step, the second step, the third step, but then I'll pause and not go on loop back to the first step because it's waiting for me to hit go again. When I hit go again, it'll go to the first step, second step, third step. Again, I hope that helps with that. In general, if I wanted it to run like say 5 times, that's where I would use a keyframe shape over a chase very specifically. Yes, Jay. If you look on the in the group and we're using it on the PC, I don't know about the phone interface exactly, but there's a on the left hand side of the window, at least on the Mac version that I use, there's a button that says videos, and you can find all the videos there. I guess we also do have loop action in the playback options, don't we? So let's do that with this one. So this one, if we go to playback options and choose our chase here, and we go to loop actions, we can have it stop on final cue, and we'll exit out of that, and we'll double tap release just to make all that one go away. So then if we fire this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stops on the final. If we hit go, it should, nope, it doesn't loop all the way around. So we'd have to refire it to get it to go again. So yes, there's the in the playback options too. I had forgotten about that. Thanks for pointing it out, Sam. Sounds like a plan, Jay. Yes, that would be I would probably do that with macro, and we can talk about that when we do cue lists, sir. Yes, that's another way you could do it, Corey. That would work also. Oh, also, Corey, Gordon and I are going to do a syntax typing one, kind of an off time. We'll probably do it like midday, maybe on Friday, and uh, go through all the syntax stuff and maybe drag Sam in with us. And we'll do it a Sam, Gordon, and Cade trio attack on syntax typing. So, any other questions to kind of keep us more in the area of chases and BPM Masters? We did not do random and direction of chases. So let's some playback options. I remember correctly, right? Suddenly forgetting. Do. Ah, yes, here we are. So to show that, so we've got our. I'm actually doing to. We'll use this chase. I think will be better for that. No, not that one. This one. Yes, we'll use this one for our chase here because it's got a lot of steps to it and it's incredibly ugly. So we go to playback options and we choose this one here. We can see that we have a play order of forwards, backwards, bounce, and random. So if we did backwards, and actually this one might be too many. Let's exit out here. Let's do playback options here, and we'll tell it to go back to looping, and now we'll set it to backwards and exit out. And we fire. See, it does our last step first. And golly, slow that down there, buddy. There we go. That's a little more reasonable. I see this running backwards from what we had it before. If we change our playback option to bounce, what it will do is it will go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it bounces back and forth between the two of them. Oh, dang it. I was doing so good. Son of a. Oh, man. Oh, sigh, sigh, sigh. So, doggone it. I thought I was going to get through a whole day. Thought I was going to get a whole day in. And I just snapped. See, it was all your fault, Sam. I was doing fine until you said something. Ay, 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 ay. So, we'll do it with chase 10 here because it's nice, easy 4 steps. If we go to our playback options here, we'll change it back to forwards and run it through once just so you can remember what it looks like. We get our step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and loops back around. So we go in our playback options and choose this one, and we set it to backwards, and we exit out. And now when we fire it, we can see it goes 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll unfire it, and we'll go into our playback options again, and we'll change it to bounce, and we'll exit out of there. And now when we fire it, we've got 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and have it just keep doing that back and forth. I'm going to cheat and start using the mobiles faders because those little buttony faders on here making me nutty. And we can change it to, whoops, wrong one. We want to do this one. Change it to random. So now if we exit out of there and we fire it, You can see that it randomizes the steps, which is only 4. Is a little hard to see as random, but there we go. I know I was doing so good, Steven. So good. It's all Sam's fault. It's all your fault, Sam. All your fault. But thank you actually for bringing it up and making me show it to everybody with the uh, with the direction in playback options. Sorry, I missed that. So with that, do we have any more questions? Keeping it again in the area of chases and BPM Masters. Well, since we don't seem to have any, I'm going to go ahead and bring this one to a close for today. Remember that you can keep up with our classes that we're doing every week or every weekday here at the Avolites.us/training events page. Also, if we go to, we can, let's see what we are doing tomorrow. And we'll switch back over here. And we're going to do, tomorrow would be shapes, the class of shape generator and keyframe shapes. So any of the keyframe shapes and regular shape questions you have, we will get into tomorrow, which are always a good time. And don't forget that you can also keep track of us, what we're doing here, as well as the UK trainers are taken care of, which you keep Sam and Gordon, and maybe learn yourself a little bit of AI. Catch them up here on the avolites.com/online resources to help you learn some more. And here's both of those up at the same time, so you can keep track of our U.S. training events. Don't forget that once we actually have classes again, you'll be able to go here and on the Avolites.us site and see them again. We can hopefully be in your city. You can come take an in-person training class, and I promise I don't have any screen switching problems there because we don't switch screens. So that'll help that a little bit. So everybody, thanks for coming out. This is a goodbye from Mission Control, and see you guys tomorrow.